Hello, everyone. Today is February 11th, 2021. It's Thursday, and welcome to the episode 15 of The Switch. I'm Tina Seuss, and we are here to celebrate our truth and connection with Soul Tribe family. And this is an interview series. It's a collection of personal true stories of individuals switching to a vegan or raw vegan lifestyle in the hopes of creating community connection and inspiring everyone towards the path of health, compassion, and vitality. Today we welcome Sebastian Baum, and we are going to hear all about Sebastian's raw vegan switch. Hey there. Thanks for coming on. I see you. And Sebastian's been on the raw path. He's been eating all raw for I think about 19 years. And we just interviewed him yesterday. We got to hear about how he's been vegan for 30 years. So we're just going to wait for him to pop on. And meanwhile, I see him here. It's a beautiful rainy day today. I'm in Northern California in wine country. And the weather is coming, the rains are coming. It's nice and cozy, so we're going to have a nice chat with Sebastian. Here we are. He's just popping on. Let's see here. Hey. Hi, Sebastian.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I was just giving a little introduction about you coming on, and you're about to share your raw vegan story. You've been on the path now, what is it, 19 years?
Yeah, since August 20th, 2001.
Oh, wow. You even know the date.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So for people who don't know you and didn't see the story yesterday, can you just tell us a couple of things about you or what your passions are? I know you do karate. You're into permaculture.
Yeah, those are things, and I'm into natural living, like natural lifestyle, healthy in accordance with our needs.
Awesome. So, what are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful that I have a place to be inside and be warm. It's cold out. I know.
Yeah,
It's not as nice as yesterday.
Yeah, I was just saying how it's like starting to rain and storm today. It feels really cozy.
Oh, you've already got rain, huh? It's not raining here yet.
Yeah. So, you're also near me, right? In Petaluma area?
Yeah, 45 minutes.
Yeah. So we're both in Northern California. And I'm just curious before we jump in, what's your definition, or what does it mean to you to be a raw vegan?
That means you most of the time avoid cooked food, or you just eat like a lot of raw, or if not all. I mean, raw vegan usually means all raw. I mean, that's the definition of the word. That doesn't mean if somebody has an off day or an off meal, doesn't mean they're out of the club or anything.
Yeah. That's cool. So, yesterday we were talking about how you came onto the vegan lifestyle, how funny it was that you didn't even know what that was. You just did it and jumped all in and avoided animal products. And I was curious about when the first time was that you heard about the possibility of even eating raw.
Oh, I mean, when I was a kid, like I didn't know it was like a thing. I just wanted to do it. But it was never like, I mean, like raw cake batter qualified. I was like, oh, it's raw.
Raw
you know.
cookie dough.
But So like, I was when I was started going online and stuff. Um, oh, yeah, that's the first time. And now, I was talking about how I go and chat with people like in my area on AOL and stuff, just random people when I first started figuring out the internet on that slow dial-up. And there was somebody on there who said just a fruit bat, and then like I asked her about that. She said she eats only fruit, and I was like, what? I was like, you can't do that. You're not going to get protein, And and so I wound up talking to her, and she said she told me about like David Klein and um, how she went to a lecture and stuff, and it just seemed like far fetched to me out there. I was in a community market, and there's the magazine by David Klein called Living Nutrition, and I saw the cover. And then another time, I was at this Thanksgiving vegan potluck, and there was one of those magazines there. I guess because the guy who owned the Inn of the Beginning in Katati, he was into it, so he had a magazine there, and I picked that up and flipped through it, and I saw these like skinny people, and I'm like, wow, just what I thought. I just thought people were like seemed like they might be kind of crazy. I don't know, but it was interesting, and I just thought it seemed kind of dogmatic to me or something.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
What year was that? Do you know?
2000,
Okay, so
Thanksgiving 2000.
okay. So that was like your first impression that people were dogmatic and like undernourished or like super skinny and
Yeah, there's just like pictures of really skinny people, like all happy with their fruits. I'm like, man, they just be high. They must be high on fruit. Because like, I was just like an over exerciser. I was just really into working out every day and um, a lot, and I had big aspirations to be able to, you know, do everything.
That's right, you were training for a decathlon, like being a decathlete, right?
Yeah, I just like it excited me to be like a superhero and have all this energy. And
Yeah.
that was my goals. So, I even like practice up the football team, and I did I didn't want to turn down any sport. I wanted to do every sport. Every time I saw it, I didn't want to limit myself. I wanted to learn everything.
So what happened after you saw that magazine?
Oh, well, I was at this vegan potluck. I don't know if I brought anything real exciting to it, but so I just had that in my mind, and then so I went to this festival. Like I saw a flyer, and it said it's called the Fusion Festival,
Hmm.
and it sounded neat because it was like way up in Northern California, and it's like trance music. And I'd just been to the Harmony Fair in Santa Rosa, and they used to have it, and it was like a big party. It was like a big fair. It was just like all kinds of like alternative living stuff, and so I didn't want it to end. I wanted to go to this festival. So the internet was young, and I went online to the website. I didn't have anybody to go with, so I went on there, and there was like a chat, like a forum, a message board. So I found like three other people to go with. So like so one person was from San Francisco, another guy was from England, another guy was like from Spain or something, and yeah, we all met up, and we carpooled together, and it turned out we were all the exact same age, 27.
Oh wow.
It was kind it was kind of funny. Um, so got to this festival. I'm walking around, and I brought some food and stuff, but then there was this people selling like raw vegan ice cream. It was bananas on flax cone, frozen bananas on flax cones. They're making it with a Vitamix, and that was the first kind of exposure. I'm like, raw food. Oh yeah, also somebody at Community Market told me they were on a raw vegan diet too, and I kind of asked about it, and I was kind of intrigued there. So then I was at this festival, and then I thought I was Mr. Healthy, like healthier than everybody, and there was this gourmet raw food booth, and they're selling this like real expensive food that's like super gourmet, and
Excuse me.
I was the type of guy that would just go up to people and ask them about stuff, and I was just asking this guy all about it, like because I was already it was already in my consciousness. So I was asking him why. I didn't know why or anything. I just knew that people were doing it. So he gave me this whole. I questioned him all night. He like
What did he
asked
tell
him
you?
that like, oh, you look old right now. You could look so much younger. He's like, your diet is aging you. You'd be so much younger. Um, and he was like, told me about I think David Wolf's website. I think
Mm-hmm.
they told me about their book or something. They had a book called. Do you remember their name of their book? Raw is Law or something like that.
I don't know.
But they had this book where they're like all in an avocado tree and avocados and
Oh
nature
yeah, with
called
the
Nature's First
thing.
Law. Nature's First Law. That's what
Yeah.
it's called. So this guy, so I was like talking to him all night, because it's like everybody's up all night. It's at this trance festival, and like nobody sleeps, so the music's just thumping all night. And I did sleep a little, but um, so this guy convinced me. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna try it, and I never ate cooked food again.
Wow. Really?
I
From
threw,
that night at the festival?
yeah. Well, at first I was like, well, I'll just eat the food I have first, and then I had like can of beans, and I was like, when I went and asked him about all the stuff I had, I'm like, is this raw? And he's like, no. And then so I just like, did I throw everything away? I think I threw everything away, or I gave it to someone. I think I threw it away. um, and then I'm like, can you give me some raw food? And so he's like, sold me some tomatoes and zucchinis and a few oranges or something. It was like not even anything substantial, but that's what was magical raw food. So
Was that
that's
August?
what I had.
Did you say that was August 20th, 2001? Or what was
Yeah,
that was that day?
yeah, or the night,
Yeah.
the night. Um, hmm, maybe it was that day. It was the night before that I talked to him, and that was the day that I started. So so then I went home, and I thought I had plenty of food, but it was nothing. I didn't know what I was going to eat, so I went like, so they were selling all kinds of gourmet stuff there, so I had no clue. So I would go and buy a big bag of almonds and be like, oh, I can just eat almonds, and I had no energy. Like I went to school eating almonds, and I was just like, no energy. I was just so hungry, and um, I went to community market again, um, and one of the people who worked there who told me about what to eat vegan. Um, I think I asked her about eating raw or something, and she says, "Oh my," or I knew her boyfriend ate raw food or something. So then I asked him to tell me what to eat, um,
Uh-huh.
and and he said he would eat melons every day for breakfast. He only ate 2 meals a day. Breakfast with just melons, and then the end was just vegetables. It was like super low calorie. I guess he would eat avocados too or something. So yeah, so I started doing that, and then he would tell me concepts like, if all you have is iceberg lettuce, you just eat that. You just eat, just eat raw. And so I did that for a while, and I was also doing theater class, so and I wasn't working much. I was going to school a lot, so I didn't have a lot of money to buy a lot of raw food. So I would get all the like rejects, like the trimmings from the produce department, and I would just grab the whole box, and there's all kinds of like rejected produce in there, and that's what I would just eat whatever's in there when I was like spending all my time rehearsing for a play and a musical I was in, and and then but I met this guy like this guy would just sit there and he would offer everybody figs, like he'd have a big bag of figs, and I'd never had a fresh fig, and I'd met him before at he worked at the grocery store, and talked to him, and he went by the name Sunfire, and he changed his name a lot, but that was the best name he ever had. Um, so he gave me a whole bag of figs, like really fresh ones. I would just like wind up fermenting because I didn't realize they're just going to ferment that day. They're like big brown turkey figs. They ferment really fast. But he told me about like the fruit trees and stuff, and so I wound up like hanging out with him, and we went to all these fruit trees and um, getting tons of free food in the neighborhood. There's all these old trees in the neighborhood, Santa Rosa, and and they had a online. I mean, they had a farmers market on campus there, and I would buy like a big old watermelon, and I would just like share it with people, like who wants to eat this watermelon with me, and and I just wound up, learning about getting excited about getting high on like fruits and just having the best experiences, like meeting people and just like never not stop laughing, be on the ground laughing, just like so high from this fruit.
That's so cool.
And
Did you feel like you learned all that stuff experientially, like how to not eat so many nuts, and like it was kind of anecdotal through people and then just through your experimentation? Or did you come upon any like information that was telling you to eat lower fat and things like that?
well, that's a fast forward, and that's like not till like a year later.
Okay.
Um,
So your whole first year was like experiencing and meeting these people and learning to forage and just trying to
oh
eat
yeah,
raw.
I tried to I tried to make sprouted wild rice and sprouted nuts and everything and sunflower seeds and still eat fruit. I just thought, it's all natural foods, and um, I would just, try to eat variety. But then, I found out that like rice isn't probably even raw, and like found out that like it's still starchy, and it's not like very easy to digest. But still, it was just all a big experience, and I did whatever I could, um, and went to all the fruit trees I could, and I was even in the newspaper. Like I was up in a persimmon tree by the by the college, and I was way up there getting persimmons like that were ready to splat. I was getting them really late, and I was eating them right in the tree. And like this newspaper photographer comes up and he's like, "Can I put you in the paper?" And he took my picture and put a caption. I still have a like John Kohler put that on his website. I still have a picture of the clipping. It says Sebastian eats only raw fruits and vegetables, and I didn't even know, and like I was uh I was riding around and people would come up to me and they're like, "You like persimmons, don't you?" And I'm like, "What? How'd you know?"
Wow.
I didn't really realize I was going to be in the paper. I don't know, like front page. I was in the
Wow.
front page of a certain section.
Wow.
I was flabbergasted. So then
So
so
how did you meet more raw vegans? Because I mean, even now it's very rare. So at that time it must have been even more rare. How did you meet them?
well, that one guy, who introduced me to figs and everything, his whole family had been raw, and like
Wow.
they they were like Essenes. They're into the Essene religion, and um, so like I would talk on the phone with his sister and his mom and his brothers, um, and try to hang out with them because they were just like it was a whole new world for me, and I was happy to know somebody. And then when he was getting like he had to move out and he was going to be homeless, he didn't know where he's going. His whole family left. They all like moved back to Arizona or something. He didn't know where he's going to go, so I said, "Oh, you can stay a few nights at my house," and then we wound up staying over a year. Like my I couldn't get rid of him by the end. He like stopped being wrong and started losing his mind. But
Oh no.
um, my mom like pitied him, let him rent for like really cheap. Um, but we had fun times, when he was raw, like just
I
and
just have to stop you there. Okay, so what made him go crazy and what made you not?
oh, he was always pretty crazy. Like his whole family, they're pretty out there. They had a lot of different beliefs and stuff,
Okay.
and like all of a sudden, so he decided like I guess he felt really isolated because he had a hard time making friends and stuff, and
Mm.
so he decided like he was just gonna go get a job. He's like get a job at Walmart and Taco Bell, and he was just gonna eat little Debbie cakes for dinner, and he just started thinking he's gonna eat whatever he wanted, and
Yeah.
so he just thought sweet things were okay, so he's just gonna eat sweet junk. Um, and he just started being really rude. So,
Oh no.
but yeah, I don't know how he turned out. I mean, his brothers still eat raw, and at least I'm pretty sure, pretty well known guy.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I think I finally read Nature's First Law, David Wolf book, and like I was all excited about being a wild man in the tree, and because like, that's what's on the cover, and in there they said something about a triangle of like eating greens, fat, and fruit. So like you had to like balance it out like a triangle,
That's
and
exactly what I got as my first information. Yeah.
and I would eat like 2 pounds of kale, 2 heads of kale every night. Um, because his favorite meal was like orange juice, mac nuts, and kale. You said
Oh.
so. People would think I was weird. I would get like so much of a buzz, a high off eating this kale. I'd just eat it like whole. I'd just chew it up while I was hanging out with people, and I would. It was just like a drug, big alkaloid effect. And I thought, wow, that must be healthy, and it feels good. But it was really hard to digest.
Hmm.
Um,
Did you,
so
even though you didn't feel like maybe you were getting it dialed in, like, did you start feeling benefits already?
oh yeah, I was like super high moments. It was like, it was like a whole new world. Like I was just way more excited about eating and way more like fun and more energy and more like connection with people. Um, just to eat with and to find food with and to learn about it with. Um, so there was like a talk um, at the cafe there, Community Market Cafe, um, raw vegan talk, and it was Rick Dina and John Kohler.
Oh,
I
cool.
didn't really I didn't really learn anything except that when you blend your smoothie, you get more calories out of it. Because like I was still eating nuts and stuff, and I think they were too. But I met John Kohler, so um, I just we knew. I had finally met him because I'd always seen him like shopping around at stores, like really focused on like picking out the freshest stuff and finding the best prices and just like not being social. Usually people go there and they're social and they say hi to everybody, but he was just focused like looking for the produce. And I was really curious about this guy because I would see him at all the stores. you know, he would come in and out, he just went really fast, and he wasn't like,
He was like on a mission.
yeah, he was on a mission, like where everybody else it seemed like so friendly, like you would like that's why I hung out at community market because you could just meet people all day, everybody would be friendly, and look at you and I. This guy was like real serious about his food. He was shopping, and
So he caught
so
your eye.
yeah, and then I finally met him, at that talk. Um,
Yeah.
so I decided to meet him, I guess. Um, Learned about how he was raw a long time. Um, so
Did
yeah,
did
so one
seeing
time,
them and other people kind of blow away any myths you had about that first magazine you read where people were like super skinny and like remember you said your first impression was like people who were really like not getting protein and super skinny?
oh, well, I think I was already past that because of
Yeah.
when I talked to that guy at the Fusion Festival.
Oh, okay, so he looked different and he was giving you different reference.
Yeah, oh, and there's that guy, Stephen Arlen was in that book, big bodybuilder guy. He's on the cover of that David Wolf book.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so he shows that like not all of them are just like skinny crazy people. So like yeah, so I would eat all that stuff like olives and everything and cashews and it's still working out and going to the gym and stuff and I remember people would tell me like I was gonna lose all my strength and I wasn't gonna last I wasn't gonna last 20 years. Like this one nutritionist guy who's got a nutrition school. Because I went to this lecture about John Robbins. There's this guy called Ed Bauman. He's got this big nutrition school that he's sold now, but it uses his name. But it's like really world famous. People come from all over the world. But he gave me a ride home from this lecture. Um, I told him about my diet, and he's like, he's like, get back to me in 20 years, and we'll see. Because he said you need to eat lots of nuts and lots of kale. And I'm like, I don't do that.
Yeah.
And
Hey, so you have
he's
one
like,
more year and you should get back to him. You could get
no,
back to him. That would be so
I did
funny.
get back to him though.
Oh my gosh.
And he totally changed his tune and he like wasn't surprised or anything.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
it's kind of funny how he's like a big figurehead for nutrition and he's not even consistent with his own thing he's saying.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I like confronted him on stage. I was like, "You said to get back to you. Well, it's been 18 years.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, "Great, I'm glad that works for you. Oh, great." He wasn't like he didn't play into it, wasn't all shocked and stuff like I was hoping.
Aw.
I was hoping to shock him and um so yeah, so John Kohler called us up and asked us to help him one time and so I just got to know him better and um kind of learned some stuff from him, I guess. And so then there was like a picture on the bulletin board of community market of Doug Graham like in a boat with his shirt off and said, come to a Doug Graham lecture um, at community market. But I didn't have time to be there. I was like doing my rehearsal for a musical, but I had like a 15-minute break and I ran over there like super far just to like go meet him. Because I think I read about and John Kohler had a website, so it is like the largest raw food website on the internet. Um, and I just came across it and I didn't realize that that was John. But then I guess when I was at that one lecture, I realized that was his website. But just because I was going to rawfood.com, which was David Wolf's website, for like where they had like a meetup and they had kind of a forum, I guess. But then if you accidentally type in rawfoods.com, or the search results said it, that was John Kohler's website. And it was also called livingfoods.com. It's still there. My picture's still there. My profile's still there. It's amazing. I don't know if he maintains it or what, but that's probably still is the largest raw food website. And there were like forums on there, so you could talk to other people, and I would like meet people on there. And it was, it was like totally before all these modern instant talking. It was just like people put down a message and there's threads, and it was just way different. And I would spend hours on the internet trying to learn about raw foods, and I would ask people like, "Well, if I'm an athlete, what should I eat?" And people were like, "Oh, you should check out Doug Graham." And then I looked him up and like read articles on his website. Um, I think that was after I met him, though.
After that talk you were talking about?
Or maybe no, I read some articles about like instant gratification if you eat an orange, or if you eat dates or something. How it's just like instantly gonna gratify you, and instead of how I mean, eating some other weird stuff that wouldn't do that. Some cashews or olives or something. So I went in, and Doug Graham was like washing his hair in the sink, getting ready for his talk, and um, and I met him, and I'm like, well, I just said, hey, I like to work out, and I just have one question for you. I have to go. I was like, what should I eat for dinner? Because I was like, had a break to go buy my dinner, I guess, or something. So he's like, fruit. And then I'm like, fruit, but I already ate fruit today. I was going to eat buckwheat. I had it soaking at home. And he's like, just eat fruit. I'm like, really? And then, I think that was it. And then I had to go. So, so then I guess,
So
I guess,
you received like the message.
because he looked like he was like worked out, and he was like all pumped up, got his hair all wet and curly hair, and had his muscle shirt on. He's like, just eat fruit. He just seemed like a real tough guy, and I read about how he did gymnastics,
Yeah.
everything, and I go, well, if it works for him, I got to try it. So, so yeah, I was eating fruit, but I was still eating other stuff after, like tons of avocados and stuff like that, and like after I would have fruit for dinner, I would still eat a big salad or a bunch of avocados. And
Did you notice a difference when you consistently ate more fruit than when you were eating the buckwheat and stuff like that, the soaked things?
well, I never really ate, but I was still in the experimental. I never even really ate buckwheat. I don't even know if I actually ate it. I soaked it. I was gonna eat it.
Oh, it was just that one night. Okay.
But yeah, no, I started to have more energy and
Okay.
to work out and everything, to continue working out, and like I was already. Um, and I think I was still doing track, and um, yeah, I thought I was like going to be a superhero, and even more now that I was eating raw. Um, so there was this. Oh, so the guy, he would always tell me about durian, and I just had this picture in my head about what it was, um, and there's this Asian market in town, and they never had durian, but one morning the guy, he got up super early to go to the wholesale place with the owner of the market, the Asian market, because he was like real friendly with everybody. So he's like, "Hey, I'll go with you, get durian." So he like went with him super early, and I didn't go. But then I woke up, and he like got me a durian, um, and and I just ate the whole thing. I was even trying to eat the rind. It was like, wow, this is like.
That's so
I
crazy.
even ate the rind.
No,
I didn't know
you
which part to
didn't.
eat.
I don't believe you.
I ate the whole thing. I'm like, I bet this part's edible too. Smells good.
Like, what happened to my
I ate
my
like the inside
digestive
core. Like
nirvana?
after I ate the durian, I think I tried to eat the seeds and I ate the inside core, and I, I was just blown away with it. I'm like, wow, that was really something.
I
I
was
wasn't.
really weirded out when I first saw durian. It looks like alien baby eggs.
Yeah, but he always like put that in my head that how good it was.
Yeah.
How satisfying it was. So I was just like, this must be it. So I had no repulsion at all. I just ate it. I wasn't scared at all.
It's really
It was
funny
good.
because I think you have the kind of personality where you just like hear something and you like it and you're just like all in. Like you just go. Like you heard this guy at the festival and you're like, I'm all in. I'm going. I'm gonna eat raw even if I'm just eating like a circular iceberg lettuce in my hand or
I knew
whatever.
it just takes strength of mind to commit to something. You have to have an open mind.
Yeah.
If somebody's doing it, you have to really test out, what they're saying to decide if they're crazy or not. I can't I can't just say they're crazy without giving them a shot.
Yeah. So what if
So,
what if somebody said, okay, only eat skunks? Would you
I mean,
test that out to see if they're crazy or not?
no, I mean like something that already made sense to me.
Okay. So it has to make sense in your head, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna experiment with this, right?
Yeah, because I didn't have anything to say not to. I mean, like I couldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, if it's something crazy, I would already know. But
Yeah. So you had
so
your first durian experience.
yeah, well, and like wow, and then I would get that more often, I guess. Or no, they didn't really. Oh, they sold it some places. There was like a few Asian markets, but not the one where he got it. He never sold it, but there's a couple other places where we got it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then there was so he told me how one year he went to this Raw Passion event. It was by David Klein, and it was like a festival. Um, and this guy Gypsy Boots was there. He's like this famous raw food guy, and he would walk around with his football and throw it to everybody. And then I started doing that, like walking around with we'd play catch with a football everywhere we went. We'd be like throwing it to people in public, like over the street, and everywhere we went, we had a football. But so I went. They were having this Raw Passion event, and I was like, "Wow, that looks great." They had like pictures of all this fruit and stuff, like buffets, and I had met David Klein because he would like take advantage of community markets dumpsters instead of paying the garbage company. He would throw all his garbage there, so I'd see him throwing away his garbage, and and the guy introduced me to him. So um, I think he told me his email, and I checked out his website, which is like Just Eat an Apple or something like that.
Oh, I think I might have seen that website.
And it had the raw food pyramid on it,
Uh-huh.
instead of a pyramid, and it says like what to eat for best health. And he's the Living Nutrition magazine guy. So
Yeah.
um,
So how did that differ from the first pyramid you saw? Because the
I
first
hadn't
one
seen it.
was
Oh yeah,
greens, fats, and fruits.
the triangle. Yeah, I knew that was that guy was kind of speaking up. I knew that guy was kind of a bullshitter, I guess. Um, he was just speaking from his own experience, I guess. But it wasn't like I don't know. This guy David Klein really seemed like he more had more experience and he had more community along with him. He had the magazine and he had all these events and stuff. So there's more of like a forum going on. Um, and there was like a food combining chart. I learned about that, and um, so this event was coming around, and like the day before the event, I'm like, man, I really want to go to that. I didn't have the money, and then I emailed Dave because he told me his email, and I asked him if I could like work trade or something. And he said no problem, be there in the morning. And so I was the guy, I was the muscles of the whole event. I was carrying around these straw bales because everybody sat on straw bales, and I was setting up all the fruit. I was chopping the coconuts, and
The kitchen, the setup, the all
and
the
I'd never chopped a coconut before. And Doug Grahams comes up to me and he's like, "I can see you never chopped a coconut." I mean, because we used to cut them like just like cut off the top, cut off the end like sideways and spill a bunch,
yeah.
or like try to cut it without like breaking the flesh, so it wouldn't just barely cut it. But he's like showing me just chop it from the top, like in like four cuts, so it just cuts out a square or a triangle, and um, and he was like telling me don't waste the meat to like scoop it out and make it available for people. He said it digests well with anything with sweet fruit, and like that always stuck in my head. But I don't think I even really learned about low fat. I just learned that kale was not really a suitable thing to eat. He doesn't eat kale, and it wasn't until the next one. I guess I did. He did mention low fat, but it didn't really sink in about what low fat meant.
Yeah.
I would still eat like an avocado every day, and you know, and then when I finally found out it was like every other day, I still didn't really sink in for a couple of years until I realized, how much fat is a lot of fat, and then it's like more like an avocado a week, um, just based on the calories, that you're eating. Uh, then they came out with this raw stock, like I think it was just the very next year, and it was a bigger event. It's just like big, huge event, and they're gonna have like uh, music and Lydia's, and um, there it was at a big place in Occidental called Ocean Song,
Oh
and
yeah, they had it there.
yeah,
Oh, that's so cool. I used to work for Lydia's.
yeah.
Yeah.
So and yeah, it was just gonna be this big festival, music festival, and so I showed up early because I was gonna be a volunteer to get in um, at David Klein's house, and Doug Graham was there, and everybody was there, and he ran to the thing. He was like Mr. Sporty. He was just gonna run there, and um, we were unloading the watermelons and everything, and culling the peaches, and um, it was just real fun to just meet like people who interested in the same thing. And Robert Sniadak was there,
How
and
many
Tim
people? How
Trader.
many people do you think were there?
I don't know, maybe 1,000, but it
Oh
was
wow.
grossly like just overestimated who was going to show up. Like they were like so worried that they lost money. David Klein was just like he was a super nervous guy and a super edgy, and he's forgetting that he's just like worried that he wasn't going to make his money back. So um, he started saying like we had to sell the fruit. First, we were giving away the fruit, and then at the end, he like wanted to. We had to start selling the fruit. And I met like one of my best friends there. He he is like his whole life gives away fruit that he picks. He's probably done it more than anybody in the world. Um, and he was so somebody I saw with a basket of figs, and I'm like, "Where'd you get those figs?" And they're like, "The guy over there, he'll give you some." And I went over there, and the guy he just like gave me one fig. he laughs today when I tell him about that. He didn't remember. because he's the fig man,
Yeah.
because Dave Klein told him he had to sell his figs, and he was all bummed out. Um, but then Doug Cram came over, and he's like, "You don't have to sell your figs." He's like, "Don't listen to Dave," because it was like they're partnered on that event, so it was like both their event. So because Doug Graham knew him from all the events, he's like, you can come to any of my events for free, because he's always giving away figs, stuff. So yeah, he wound up being like my best friend. I still know him today. Uh, been on a lot of adventures, picking fruit and stuff, and working together. But yeah, so yeah, I've known him for a long time. That was back when I was a year into it, So uh, and I've met other people there who I still know today. Um, and the next year, like they had a couple more raw stocks, but they were back at the original place at the apple orchard, the Dry Farm Apple Orchard in Sebastopol, which is kind of cool. It's like in the country on a hillside, and and there's somebody who brings me free fruit, who I just got some. I met her there, so I still know people who I met there, like friends for life. I met Dr. Sam there.
Oh, cool.
Frederick Patinaud was there. There's still people around, like John Kohler was there. Um, but yeah, the first one was like the best. Like they just had crates of fruit from the farmers market, and it's just um, they stopped doing it because they always overestimated. They could never guess how many people are going to come, so they couldn't plan how much fruit to have. So then it just turned into a non-commercial like fruit luck thing where people would just bring your own fruit and they would have it like once a year, and hardly anybody came, but I still went and I rode my bike and I brought all these peaches on my bike, and um,
Was it
that
like
just
a
kind of
weekend event,
fizzled
like
out.
a day event, or how did it work out?
Yeah, it used to be a camp out, and
Oh, that's cool.
it was really fun.
So
Some
did
people
they
would go
did
get a
they have
hotel.
festivals like that even before the Rostocks? Like did they have like I've heard that they've had hygienist conventions, but
Oh
it
yeah, and
seemed
they're
more
just like all old.
social.
They're all super old people and who've been doing it a long time. And um, my friend went to one of those in Florida. He said they're just like really old hygienists, and they're all super healthy, uh, and they like talk joke about like how they had the same bottle of water for 20 years, and they took like one sip
Uh,
because they would get their water from fruit, and they would make jokes about germs, like it's like don't put that on the table, there's germs. He's just joking. My friend told me that.
oh wait,
'Cause,
your sound switch. Did you press something?
no,
It
can you hear
sounds
me?
yeah, it sounds really different, but
Yeah, so I learned about natural hygiene and terrain theory versus germ theory. Um,
is your thumb over the speaker maybe?
probably. Is it now?
No, it sounds like I don't know, it sounds kind of funny. Like
Really?
yeah, like really distant. Like you just got shrunk down to a little 1 inch person and your voice is like
I'm smaller too.
no.
I don't look.
No, just your voice.
Can you hear me now? Is it
No, I
better
can.
now?
No, we can hear you. It's just different. But I'm not sure if you might have pressed like a speaker thing or. But either way, it's okay. We can keep going. So, all of these experiences are happening, and you started going to festivals. Like, did you feel like the festivals were really key at like did those help you a lot?
I helped me be more confident, and feel like I wasn't the only one who's gonna be turned on to it.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it made me feel like I was gonna have like all new, just a whole new life. I was gonna have friends.
That's cool.
And there was this guy Bradley, an organic athlete. He lived around here. He like sells these jerseys and stuff. Really, like people out pretty famous, I guess.
What? It's hard to hear you.
Oh, there's this guy Bradley. Um, so yeah, there was a raw, the fruit looks that I mean not the fruit looks, the raw potlucks that we went to. They had those, so I would go to those and meet people there. But they were just like super, it's always the same. It's super gourmet, like recipes and stuff. But we met people there, and David Klein managed those too. So yeah, I've been to a lot of those. Um, and I would just like ride my bike there. I would ride my bike everywhere with baskets carrying fruit and stuff. Um, yeah, so I learned early like how to travel with fruit and carry it around on my bike and shop on a bike. And, uh,
How do you
so yeah,
how do you feel like your raw lifestyle is different now than like maybe those days?
oh, well, I'm way more experienced and way more down in. I learn about more and more things as I go, like about some things that aren't really actually raw, like the mangoes and stuff that are imported are not the same as the mangoes that aren't hot water treated. The papayas, and they're nowhere near the ones that can smell a block away. All the imported ones are hot water treated. When I go to Mexico to go to the dentist, I'm walking up on that market like a block away. I can smell the mangoes. Like, oh, they got mangoes.
Mm.
There, I'm like smelling them. They're just so good. You can't even smell a mango here in the store. Just, but once in a while I'll eat one though, just because I love mangoes.
Oh wait, we could hear you better. Did you just move your hand somewhere?
Whoa! So I got this twisty right here. Maybe this is an antenna. I'm like, I've been moving my hand around like this.
Oh wait, I can hear you better now. Yeah. Wait, now it's perfect. Whatever you do, don't move your hands.
Okay.
Yeah, now I can hear your voice
I don't,
normally.
I don't know if I don't know if it might be real.
So, like,
those
what are kind
those
of
seeds will sprout though. They will sprout, or not all the time. I don't know, but they people do sprout mangoes pits, and I've seen sprouted
even
uh,
when they're flash eaten or
papayas.
whatever in
I've
hot water?
opened papayas, and the seeds are sprouted.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the quality of the fruit's not as good, and it doesn't ripen as well. But I'll still eat papayas sometimes. I just got to have the variety and like got to have the tropical fruit. So I used to not eat them for a while, but it's not like my staple or anything.
Yeah.
I know that it's not like the number one thing I should be eating.
What do you feel like are the most important things for you to be on this lifestyle to anchor? Like, what are the some of the biggest things you learned?
Well, it's mono meals are important at least like one time a day, or um, it's just like it helps you have just like invisible digestion. It's like the invisible man digestion. Um, you don't have any issues later on like gas or stomach issues. I mean, some fruits can if you're not active enough or eat too much, or uh, like you could have like acid reflux from persimmons or something. They're like gassing if especially if they're a little bit overripe or something, or you eat too many. Just like then still learning what works. I mean, I learned how to get rid of it just by like exercising and breathing a lot and kind of jumping and stuff, and it just goes through. And my problem's gone. I'm ready to move on to the next meal, or because yeah, they can feel like they're stuck sometimes. Persimmons, or even if you eat a lot of, if you blend your food and you got a lot of air in it, um, it can kind of feel like an acid reflux, like it's like coming up, like burpee and like dates and bananas. I've had that, but that's also from just like eating too much too fast, I think,
Yeah.
with all the air in there, and um, you know, uh, it's good to avoid that. I've got a vacuum blender now, and there's no air in there. So if I do make a smoothie, it's so much smoother. I get so much more flavor out of it. So
It's
it's like a better mouthfeel.
true. Yeah, it's totally true because I tried it with my one of my friends and hers it's Taylor. She has one and we made like soups with them or smoothies and like the colors are so much more vibrant and the taste is so much better and like you said this it's smooth. It's like really smooth.
I saw Chris Kendall made a video of how to use your Vitamix and get like a pump that they use for sealing wine bottles, and putting it on the lid so you can use it on your Vitamix and vacuum vacuum seal it,
That's cool.
vacuum blend it for like $10 or something. You
Oh,
could
that's cool.
go to a wine store or something and get one.
So, like, what have you experienced? What kind of like ailments did you have before you went raw that you feel like you've healed by eating, by including a raw diet into your lifestyle? I know you said you used to have a lot of rosacea and like,
No, I never had
or
rosacea.
you said you had something before.
Um, I just had injuries from, like, I hurt my knee and I was limping for months, and just like, and it's never, I could never bend my knee back for like maybe over a year, all the way to my butt. But that did heal, and it, I was just uh, doing crazy workouts and jumping in crazy ways, and hurt my knee. I don't know. I was told I tore my meniscus, but I don't know if that was a proper diagnosis. But it's still not fully healed today. But I can run and do. I can still do normal things. But for a while, like, I had to quit track, 'cause I couldn't. My, like, my jumping days were over. That's what the coach said. Like, I was trying to jump one time and then my knee popped out, and I'm like, it's like, looks like your
Ouch.
jumping days are over. I'm
Ouch.
trying to get it back now. I'm trying to get my jumping back, trying to get back to grabbing the rim, and
Yeah.
I got a I got a basketball hoop out here. I got a free basketball hoop, so I'm gonna keep practicing.
Cece's
Um,
asking what brand of vacuum blender you have.
oh well, I saw this John Kohler video, and he's like, "You better get this vacuum bender. It's only like $60 right now on eBay. There's only like $60, but I actually have an affiliate store if you want to check it out in my link, and I have a whole list of different vacuum blenders. The one I have is called Igarek, but I just kind of looked up random ones that seemed like a good price, and they look similar to the one I have,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I put in my affiliate store. Um,
That's cool.
it's, I have a lot of cool stuff in my affiliate store,
What's the name of that blender again?
stuff that I actually use. Huh?
What was the name of that exact blender that you just said? I what?
I think it's Igarek,
Igaric.
Aigieerk.
Okay.
But I looked for that one, and it costs more than what I bought it for. But there's also ones that look just like it. Um, because if they're probably somebody just put their brand on the same manufacturer or something, because it looks like very similar.
So that's cool.
Um,
People can check it out if they go on your Instagram link in your bio, and then you have the affiliate, so they can check out which one they like.
yeah, and I have a lot of cool products on there that I recommend. They're not all expensive. Some things are cheap things, but they're things for healthy lifestyle, like grounding and different oral hygiene, just different hygiene kind of healthy things. That anything I can think of that I use that people really need, I put it on there, like my hemp shower curtain and everything.
That's cool. So,
Uh,
what do you feel like are If you could kind of like consolidate it into a gem, you've been on this path for 19 years. Like, what do you feel are some of the biggest gems of your experience? Like, why go raw? Why would you tell someone to go raw? What are the best things that you've felt and lived with it?
Because you're going to have zero digestion. You're going to have a direct switch to get the fuel that's going to like go straight into your blood, into your muscles. It's going to be like seamless. You're going to, if you're like running and you hit the wall, and like people have these athletes have these gel packs where you could just have date water or any kind of fruit, and it's going to bring you back to strength instantly. Like, I've experimented with that and run like 20 miles on a whim and totally not been able to barely even walk, and then I get home and eat some watermelon, and I'll just like instantly gain my strength back. I didn't have the strength to unzip my sweater, or anything like that.
After doing a really long run.
Yeah, like when I was not experienced, I'm just like, I'm gonna run over the mountain and see if I can do it. And I didn't bring anything with me, but after like several hours, like I wound up just walking the last home stretch. I couldn't even barely walk, just totally hit the wall. Because all I had was like watermelon before I left, and then,
So you get really clean fuel and energy, and your digestion is just like seamless because it's going straight into your body. Fruit is the easiest to digest.
high octane. I
High
don't know if you've
octane living.
seen that Michael Arnstein video where he's driving the Lambo. He's like, I take high octane fuel. He opens the trunk and there's all his fruit in there.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that. That's cool.
But yeah, so like that's like the direct link to, like, that's the number one thing to focus on is the fruit. You got to have, like, any other raw food, save those for the end of the day after you've already had enough fruit. Because, like, you don't need to be having vegetables in the middle of the day or fats in the middle of the day. You want to have the capacity to get your calories in and have a mono meal, and have it last for you for like 5 hours. That, I mean, maybe when you're starting out, you're going to eat more frequently, but you want like you want to have times in between meals where you're like empty, like it's not like in your top of your small intestine. You want it to like be on its way through and in your blood's already in your muscles and your glucose. I mean, they say what we eat today fuels us tomorrow, but still, I mean, a lot of it's instant too. It goes like, if your muscles are starving, they're gonna suck that sugar up, and that's what we need in our brain. So
Whole food sugars,
yeah,
not refined sugars.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's also things I pay attention to about like if I'm eating enough omega 3s, because not all fruits have omega 3s and stuff. So I kind of chart that sometimes just to get an idea if I'm like switching up the fruits to make sure I'm getting that. I might have to like eat more lettuce than I usually eat, or have some hemp seeds or chia seeds or something to to just to kind of mimic like to get the RDA of omega 3, but to also mimic like what tropical fruits would give us, because they're more balanced.
That's a really
Uh,
good point.
so like there are not it's not only tropical fruits that have omega 3, like
Greens have
all
it. Greens have it too. Lots of greens.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not the type of guy who wants to eat 2 heads of lettuce, so I'll eat one, but
Yeah.
sometimes I'll eat two. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why, like, I did some programs with Tanny Raw, and she's really into sprouting, and you can just eat like a cup of sprouts instead of eating like a head or two of greens, and it has way more nutrients in the little sprouts, and you can just eat your food, but you don't have to eat as much bulk, and you're getting the same good amount of nutrients.
I think the bulk is important though. Because I get my water from plants. You get more hydration from the plants. I mean, I just drank some water right before this. I'm not really into water. It made me dizzy instantly. Anytime I just think about drinking water, it's like, wow, people I think they just need water so much. But I focus on juicy fruit first, because the best water, and I'm already peeing more than I want to be peeing, and especially the greens and everything at night. That's like super hydrates me at the end of the day, and but I
Yeah, it
had
just
some.
depends where you are on the spectrum of the diet of eating and where you're coming from. And, you know, I think that that's an important factor to contribute into it.
Yeah, because I don't know if there's like plaque in there you got to loosen up or whatever with water, but for now, for
Most
me,
people are dehydrated. Most
yeah.
people, yeah.
But I just most of the times, like any natural hygienist, don't really need water unless I'm sweating a lot in the daytime or out in the sun, or I mainly have enough juicy fruit to take care of it. I'll start out with a honeydew or papaya, or blend up some pears or something, or something like a light fruit that's not too sweet because I don't need that much on my first meal. But the second meal is the denser meal of like bananas, persimmons, grapes, or dates and cucumbers or something. That's really gonna level off my sugars. So I'm just like at the level full tank. Um, as much as I care to eat, because I'll just lose interest once I've had enough. I'll just get distracted and I'm like, oh, I guess I ate enough. You know, I won't be all excited about eating it once. That's how I know I've had enough.
Yeah. Yeah, like the
Um,
cravings go away or like the desire goes away.
yeah, it just feels like capacity um, anymore would just seem like too much jittery. I don't know. Like if I had the sweet enough sugar, it's like you reach a point where it's just like, damn, I'm there. I'm not sucking it up anymore. I'm just at the level where I want to be.
Hmm.
Um, then for dinner will be something lighter, but I'll like check up the chart to make sure like my omegas look like, so I decide which fruit I'm gonna have for dinner. And like last night it was just apples. I had like 5 apples or something, um, with some hemp seeds on there. I didn't even need the hemp seeds, but um, and some dulse flakes, which I'm experimenting with. My dad used to put salt on his apples, so it's kind
Oh, really?
of so it's kind of salty apples. And the cat smells them. The cat's like, "Whoa, it smells like fish piss." But
TMI.
and then I just grab a head of lettuce and eat it. But
Yeah.
because my roommate goes to bed early. But if I can use the blender, I'll make some kind of dressing, like blending up stinging nettle, or things that I normally couldn't eat without the blender. Or like if I had to blend up some chia seeds, because the seeds they have to be ground, or you're not going to really get anything out of them. So that's another reason to use the blender, like, to make a dressing if I was going to do that. And, also, just to mix flavors because um, it's like
Add
a
variety.
good plan for a salad dressing is to have an acid fruit mixed with a fat, just one kind of fruit. Sometimes I'll put more than one, but like a lime and citrus.
We have a question here and it says, how do you prepare stinging nettle in the blender? Objective Correlative asks.
Oh yeah, so well you that's just like the last ingredient. So you got to have a lot of juicy stuff. Like I'll put like a couple oranges in there, and some celery, just to so it will actually blend. And then I'll put in the nettle on top, but I'll actually kind of chop it up while it's in the blender. I'll just put the knife in the blender and like chop it up a little so that it can spin and not just like get stuck in the top and stuck in the lid. But yeah, then it gets a real thick, like nice sauce. The nettle is really rich. It's like supposed to be one of the mineral richest plants on earth, or the most protein plant or something, or said to be the most nutritious plant on earth. But to eat it in the wild is kind of hard. But I have
Oh, it
the
hurts.
big the big leaf stuff. If I just grab it really carefully and softly and don't let myself get pricked, and roll it up and then just bypass the mouth, go straight to the teeth. then it's edible.
You can just dry it too. Like we actually have it growing
Oh yeah.
wild on our property. And if you cut it and then let it naturally dry, the little kind of tingly prickly things kind of fall off, and you can make it into a tea, or you can sprinkle it on your salads, or you can put it in your dressing too if you want to blend it.
I think even just a little bit wilted, you can and chop it up real good, and even just chopping it up real good. I've eaten it.
Yeah.
If you put a dressing on it, I think it'll just like kind of dull out the stings. I have had a like fully stung mouth from it, but yeah, if you just smother it in like some kind of dressing, I think that would prevent you from getting stung
Mm.
too. But I think maybe you get more out of it by blending it just because the more surface area. Um, but yeah, it makes a nice thick dip or something or a sauce or pesto. Um,
Well, we're at time, but I wanted to ask you what, since this has been such a big long journey, like is there any kind of things that last messages you have for people or anyone new to the lifestyle? Like what would be some things I know you've written a book about it. You could get his free ebook, sharing some of the gems that he's learned, but like what would be your parting message today for for the audience?
um, eat the truth. Raw is the truth, and anything else is just like a made up fantasy. Raw is like the truth of life. That is like living participation from the biosymbiosis with the natural world. Anything else is like a fantasy. You're just like trying to do it all yourself and uh, piecemeal everything. This is the complete package when you're eating a fruit as we're designed. Symbiosis with nature. We're designed to eat fruit. Our biology, um, you know, the guy who invented science of naming things and Latin names for everything, the binomial nomenclature that we use today. He even knew back then that humans are biologically frugivores, comparing us to all other animals on Earth, and our the way our gut is designed. And so, fruit is our natural food, and but it's not just any fruit. We are tropical creatures, so you need tropical fruits at least, every once in a while, or you're gonna need some to make up for it by a lot of lettuce. Get your omegas and um, or some
Lots of
seeds even,
greens.
or some seeds even. That's why we need greens is like to make up for inadequacies of fruit. Because if we're having the perfect fruit that's juicy enough, that has enough minerals, um, we're not going to want greens. They're just going to say we got the awesome fruit. But if our fruit is like just bananas or something, we're going to need to supplement with some greens and get enough hydration, get enough omega 3s and sodium, and um, so I mean, chronometer is a tool. They make guesses, but that's just guesses because not all fruits are the same soil. They're not all the same quality. So yeah, eat tropical fruits, or I aim to get as much of those as I can, or just if I have you know fruits we didn't evolve with from this new world, keep that in mind because they may not be as nutritionally complete, and um, you know like eating too many blueberries like in the summer in the sun, that can actually give you problems. There's like a lot of tannins in there. They're not exactly the most natural food for us. Um, you have to drink water when you're eating a lot of blueberries. You do have to drink water because you got to dilute the tannins. They can like constipate you, they can give you a headache, and give you like heat stroke. Um, there's certain foods you want to just not overdo it on if they're not natural foods.
So get your
Um,
balance. Sounds like you're really into balance and listening to the truth of your body.
yeah, don't always just trust a food because it's a raw food or because it's something that you eat. I mean, there are some foods have limitations, so listen to your body because if it's not a natural food, like blueberries or celery, for example. Don't eat pounds of celery every day. It can give you heat stroke. It can, has the toxins in it. All greens have toxins in them. You got to vary your veggies and focus on the fruit. Those are two good slogans. Uh, that's why you don't just want to eat a whole lot of one type of veggie all the time. Um, there are toxins that can add up. So, I mean, I'm not going to eat 2 pounds of celery every day. No, I mean, I might eat a pound if but lately I just eat a few stalks to add to my saltiness to my dressing. Um, yeah, and just like be mindful of that there are toxic foods, and
So get in the variety and get in balance and make sure you're getting your nutrition in.
yeah, it's good to check because to know your fruits, like which ones have the omega-3, which ones, because you don't want to have like more than 4 times the amount of omega-6 as omega-3. Like I guess that's known because of the centenarians and the blue zones and everything. But that's what's recommended. And if you're eating like avocados, you're gonna have those are like 17 to 1. So you're really gonna have a hard time getting enough omega-3 if you're just going straight to the avocados without thinking about omega-3 first, because you'll have too much fat overall and won't be able to absorb um, what you need, this EFAs. Um,
True, true, true.
I'd still eat avocados, but like usually just like a slice of one. I had a whole one the other night. And I didn't really notice any hangover or anything, but maybe that's because I was a good boy already and had my omega-3 in there and had enough fruit for the day and um, just was doing good exercise and everything. You got to exercise if you can before each meal because you assimilate it so much better. Um, so much fat, you recover so much faster. The longer you wait, the longer it takes. Um, Even if it's just a little bit of exercise, just get your heart pumping. It's going to be beneficial. Just some stretching or some core exercise. I mean, but if you're hungry, just you feel that in the throat. That's where true hunger is, in the throat. So that's how you know when to eat. If you don't feel like exercising, it's not a bad idea to eat if you have the hunger in your throat. You know, or if you're like running and you can't run anymore, then you probably are hungry. You're hitting the wall
Yeah.
because the runner's high can confuse you too. And
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Sebastian. And where can people find you to get your book?
Raw
And
Vegan Sensei, just go to my link in bio, and it says my website. It's my link tree. I got a bunch of cool links for affiliate store, all the cool stuff, healthy stuff I recommend. You can read my book, and I'll do a free call with you because I need to get some experience. So until I get enough reviews, the calls are free. You can just schedule one, and then where I start charging.
watch out. Great. Well, this is awesome. I'm so grateful you came on, and I hope this is beneficial to everyone who's here. I'm so glad you came, and thank you, Sebastian.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a beautiful day.
Thank you too. Bye bye.
Bye.